Hey, how's it going, everybody? Shaun here with another edition of Shaun Solo, and today I'm going to be talking about GameStop. Everybody's favorite place to go buy games and get hassled by clerks that don't know anything about gaming past 5 years ago. It's wonderful. That read you basically company emails. It's great. Oh, I love going to GameStop. Who doesn't love that experience of being constantly bothered all the time and being upsold on shit that you don't want? It's great. It's a great place. Well, it seems though that GameStop is gonna be getting a little retro coming this actually in a couple days. Saturday, April 25th, 2015. GameStop is unrolling a new initiative, I guess you could call it. They are going to be buying old systems and old games going back all the way to the NES, the original NES. Yes, oh yeah. Gotta get some of that retro gaming dollars, because apparently they've just realized that people still like playing those old games and collecting them. Crazy. I'm sure they regret when they were dumping that stuff by the boatload a few years ago, but it seems like they probably have a surplus. They probably have a surplus. It's actually, it's going to be a limited thing. It's actually more of a test. They're doing it in, I believe, Birmingham, Alabama, I want to say, and then New York City. I guess 265 stores. But this isn't the first time they've talked about this. They actually have been talking about doing this since like 2012, about getting back into the retro game market, because it had become such a kind of a phenomenon, a new thing, with things like with the YouTube videos with people like the Angry Video Game Nerd and whatnot, like really spurred on like a newfound interest in this stuff. Now, granted, there had always been collectors before that, but the interest definitely was inflated, and you could argue whether that was actually a good thing or a bad thing for his presence anyways, because most of the time when somebody like that would do a video or covers a video, gets a lot of exposure, like whatever game they were covering, the prices would go up, which helped vendors and hurt purchasers, hurt the consumers a little bit. But that's neither really here nor there. I guess I just want to give my opinion on it. As a business decision, it makes sense, right? Like, this is an untapped market in terms of like corporate stores getting involved in. Obviously, we have things like Craigslist and yard sales and flea markets and eBay. eBay is probably the biggest thing when it comes to like retro game collecting, as far as like finding something specific. A lot of people, you know, it's the driving force behind everything. The entire kind of market is driven by eBay and what people are pricing games on eBay and whatnot. Like, that dictates a lot. It dictates even what the brick and mortar stores sell their games for. So what's interesting to me is, like, if GameStop is going to do this, if they're actually going to get back in this business, I have a feeling that they're more prepared than they're saying, because basically they're saying like, oh, we're going to start buying the stuff from consumers, but it's going to be like another 8 or 9 weeks before it actually gets rolled out. And the thing with them is, it's not going to be in the store. It's actually, you're only going to be able to buy it online, which to me kind of defeats a lot of the purpose, because now they're just throwing their hat in the ring with just another kind of available place to get it online. The reason why, like, a lot of brick and mortar stores, like kind of these, you know, more retro focused game stores and whatnot that are kind of mom and pop run, you know, the people that go to flea markets and stuff like that a lot of times as well, is because you can walk in, you can buy it. You can walk in, you can look at it, you can see the quality of it, and blah blah blah. And I was reading some articles. There's a few of them. There's one on Wired that was the most interesting to me, because it kind of talked about what they're actually planning to do in terms of pricing. They're going to have a flat rate, and it's not going to matter whether it's like has a box or it's in a loose cartridge. Like, they're not going to price things like that at first. It's going to depend on what kind of supply they get. And if you buy something, you could be buying a loose cartridge and then maybe get a box. It's kind of it seems a little haphazard, honestly. And the thing that I think they're underestimating is how finicky collectors are. You know, we want to know what we're buying before we buy it. You know, oftentimes, you know, we'll send messages to people on eBay and whatnot, like asking for more pictures and asking for quality, and like, you know, the good sellers always have a good amount of pictures, so you know what you're buying before you actually buy it. And I think that's a really important thing, because GameStop's not going to do that. So it's not even going to be, I don't know who they're catering to, honestly. Like, there's this thing that, like, GameStop has had so many failed experiments. Like, they've had their own, like, digital like game sales space. I don't even know if it's still running, but I know they did at one point, and I assume they still do. That you can go directly to a GameStop website and like buy PC games, download codes, all that kind of stuff. So it was, well, I believe it was the PC market, because like they were trying to compete with Steam. People were like, we already have Steam, like we're not gonna, just do another one that's selling the same games and then have to have a different library, and it's kind of stupid. So I'm not sure exactly what it is they're trying to get out of this whole retro, like selling retro games, honestly. I don't think that people are going to respond to it very well, and I don't know if GameStop is aware of the reputation they have. People don't like GameStop very much. GameStop is almost a necessary evil. Over the past few years, I've stopped going there completely. I don't want to be bombarded with like this notion of pre-orders and stuff, and I'm just sick of it. And then constantly buying a brand new game and having it like being given an open box and like a disc taken out of a sleeve. Like, I don't care if anybody played it or whatever. Like, when I buy something brand new, I want it shrink wrapped. That's a personal preference. Like, I want it from the factory the way it came. I don't want an open game. And they're notorious for that, and they don't care, and they don't carry a lot of stock, and it can be a pain in the ass. Like, there's the GameStop in my neighborhood, there's a Target right next door to it. 9 out of 10 times I'll go to Target anyways, but sometimes I'll just go to GameStop because, I might want to check out and see if they get used games. I still will occasionally buy used games there, and on the odd occasion that there's something that I can't get like at Target, but I'll usually go to Target. But I will, like I said, I'll sometimes go to GameStop, and GameStop a lot of times won't have like stock of fairly new games. I went in there to get Diablo 3 when they did the special edition of it, like the Reaper of Souls with the expansion. Because I wanted to check it out on the console, and I didn't have Reaper of Souls. My Battle.net account got stolen years ago, so I was like, well, I wanted to check it out. So I ended up going up to the counter and being like, yeah, I'd like to get a copy of Reaper of Souls. They had one copy left, and it was a fucking open copy. And I said, hey man, can I get one that's not open? Can I just get it? And then he gave me shit about it. He acted like I was inconveniencing him by asking him a question, like about whether or not I could can I get a sealed copy of this game, please? And he was like, well, we don't do that. It's just the way it is, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, fine, I don't want it. And I told him, I was like, I'm going to walk across the street, and I'm just going to go to Target and buy it. Because I was buying it impulsively. Like, I was there I was bored and look at used games. And I ended up buying that. Nothing else caught my eye, so I ended up impulsively buying Diablo 3 for console. Or attempted to. And that's exactly what I did. I marched my ass across the street, went to Target, bought it. Brand new. Not opened. Like, and they had plenty of copies. So, like, I don't know what the deal is with GameStop in terms of, I don't know, their business practices just seem at odds with, like, being there as a service for gamers or customers, right? Like, it's not, because they are very, very, very open about kind of not giving a shit about their customer base at all. And no amount of power-up points are ever going to change that, like, in terms of the way you feel. Like, people have become so disenfranchised with that fucking company. And I don't blame them. I'm one of them. I don't like going in there. I don't. Most of the staff are, like, standoffish and, like, really don't have that wide of a breadth of gaming knowledge. And they're not supposed to. They're just there to push whatever's new. Whatever's the most expensive thing. And that's unfortunate. And I'm sure that's not true in every case. I want to say that. I'm not dogging on everybody that works at GameStop or, all GameStop employees, but I just don't understand, like, why the fuck you work at a GameStop if I don't know, if you don't really know much about games. Okay, general GameStop rant over, but I just don't know who they're trying to serve, I guess. I don't know how. I think it's kind of like too little too late. If they had done this 5 years ago, maybe because they would have a place. There is potentially good things could come from this. It could make pricing more competitive. So it could be actually a good thing for collectors, because if GameStop is going to sell something, the game's cheaper than, like, say, like people on eBay or your local brick and mortar vendors, then everybody's going to have to cut their prices. Which is a good thing and a bad thing, because I really like to support, like, local everything. Local shops, local farmers, all that kind of stuff. I will go out of my way to try to at least go to those stores. Rather than just going to, like, a Walmart or something like that. I try my best. I mean, I'm not always successful. But like one of my favorite things is those, obviously brick and mortar, mom and pop kind of like video game shops, or kind of nerd stores. Like there's actually a really great one in Augusta, Georgia. It's only about a half hour from me. It's called Second and Charles. That's just full of like books and movies and video games and everything else you could think of, and it's a really great store. And GameStop getting back in the business of of selling that stuff is going to hurt those businesses. It's going to hurt those smaller businesses. And I know that GameStop's actually been kind of struggling, so they're doing what they can to try to make money. But I find that like bothersome on a personal level, like because they don't really need to do it. They're just doing it just to do it, just to see if it's going to work. But like I said, it's probably going to drive a lot of prices down, because if GameStop was smart, they would not be pricing stuff the same way people are pricing stuff on eBay. They would undercut them if they were smart. I don't know. GameStop does not always seem like it makes the most forward-thinking decisions. So, as a company. So, I really don't know. So, if they undercut the games and they're selling them for cheaper, that's going to force it's going to force people to sell them for cheaper, because even though everybody's going to cry foul and be like, I'll never fucking buy a retro game on eBay or blah, blah, or not on eBay, rather, on GameStop, rather. And then one day they're going to be like, well, I really want a copy of like Earthbound. And they're going to go check on eBay, and eBay is going to sell it for, whatever the $100+ that cartridge goes for. And then they'll go to GameStop, and GameStop will have it for like $60. What are you going to do? I mean, like, I don't think there's a lot of retro game collectors don't come from affluence a lot of times. A lot of gamers are, not dirt poor. I mean, there's gamers of all colors, varieties, and classes, but obviously. But in my experience, it's most like in your average Joe, middle class, lower class. And $40 is enough of a spread that you're going to be like, I'm going to go get it for $60. I'm going to at least give that a whirl. And also because GameStop is going to allow you to return the games in the same policy they have with all of their used games. It's going to have that 7-day, no questions asked return policy. That's going to be something that a lot of vendors are going to have to deal with. And I'm just kind of curious how it's going to react. I wonder if this is actually going to have any effect at all as well. Like I said before, it might be a little too late. We might be too far down the line for this to matter, or GameStop to be able to have a foothold on this. I think they're making a huge mistake by making this an online-only thing. I think they should at least be sending to the stores. I think they should have their own shelf space for this. Because, like, even me, myself, like, that's one of my favorite things about going retro game hunting, or, go buying retro games, is looking through them, like the physical things, being able to touch them, tangible. I can see the quality, and also just it's fun. It's fun to look through these old games and stuff, and that's kind of part of the reason I think people enjoy doing it. Like it's partially it's just about because you just want to own it, but the other part is really just because it's like a fun nostalgic thing to do. Because that's part of the fun. It's like looking through all these old games. Whether you end up buying all of them or not is irrelevant. Like you're just looking through them, and it triggers memories of your youth or whatnot. Because that's what it is. It's nostalgia driven. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that GameStop is even gonna matter? Is it gonna impact this market? I mean, I haven't been collecting. I used to collect Sega Genesis games. I haven't been collecting in the past 3 years or so. Stopped around 2012, and then I was only doing it for 3 years. But I have a couple hundred games, and I sold off a bunch of them actually just for some extra cash. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a good thing, a bad thing? Do you hate GameStop as much as I hate GameStop? Just like everybody hates GameStop because it's might as well get on that bandwagon. Why not? Like it's a lot of fun. It's crowded, but it's fun. Anyways, yeah, that's gonna do it for me, guys. I'm Shaun, and I will talk to you guys next time I have something to talk about.